Welcome back to the next episode of the Don't Start Your Shit podcast. I am Nook Fears, the host that do the most. Himothy 316, Michael Himgelo. So, excuse me. I was supposed to have a guest for this next episode, but due to a scheduling conflict, he could not make it. So I had to pivot and come up with a whole new outline, a whole new video to do for you guys because the show must go on. I'm trying to get this content out here. I'm not going to let anything stop me. That was a bump in the road to not have my guest show up, but it's okay. Like I said, I am the content, so I'm going to give you the content. And this is don't start your shit, and I'm going to start my shit. Because that's what you guys are tuning in for. Now, because I had something completely different I was going to talk about, I had to think to myself, because this was late last night when I realized that I wasn't going to be able to do my original show. So I was like, well, what can I do? That's just me. Because this is going to be my first solo podcast. So what can I talk about that's really going to get my shit starters riled up? And I was thinking to myself, well, how about I lean on my Q&A? So what I did was I wrote down the list of names that I said. And how about I tell you about what I experienced or what I felt about these women from, I guess you want to call it my Crush Chronicles. And let me tell you how my experience with these situations, even if I didn't really have an experience with this situation, but how I felt. Let me tell you how these have shaped the man that I am today, the way that I think. Because normally on my other episodes, I'm goofy. You know, I like to get my jokes in. I like to be funny, but I wanted to take a different approach. I want to have a different tone with this video. Because this video this podcast isn't just always about jokes and laughing and all that. Sometimes I like to switch it up and be serious. I want to be heard. I want to have a voice. So I'm going to have a more serious tone. Because I want to open up and be vulnerable and explain to y'all exactly what I felt about these women in particular and how my situations with them have affected me. Because I feel like more men need to express themselves. We all need an outlet somewhere, and this is my outlet. So I don't want this to be a long podcast. Normally my podcasts are upwards towards an hour. I'm going to try to keep it within a shorter time frame. But I'm going to give y'all some clarity on these names and how I feel. So before I start, ladies, I'm not here to bash y'all or really say anything bad about y'all. I just want to share my side of my experiences with y'all. And I'm going to try to keep it respectful. But I am going to be real. I'm going to tell you how I feel. I'm going to tell the truth. Because I feel like on this list, people were not completely honest or not completely forthcoming with their feelings. And I want to let it be known how that has affected me. So we're going to get started with Asha Overton. Now, Asha was probably my first real crush ever when I really became, I'm not even going to say of age, because I wasn't really of age to really know what liking girls was like, but I knew it was something about her that I liked. I met Asha during my childhood, and what drew me to her was, for one, I thought she was so pretty. I did. She was so athletic too. Like, she could play basketball. She was fast. I was always the fastest person. I had never really met anybody that could beat me in a race. I was so fast. And then I met this girl, and she was faster than me. And I was shooketh. I was taken aback that this girl has this physical ability that she does. She could play basketball, and she's faster than me. I was intrigued. I was giddy. Kid in the candy store. Y'all remember them games, Rover, Red Rover? Where you have a person in the middle, stand against the wall, You call the color of the shirt, whatever somebody was wearing, and those people wearing that color shirt had to try to get by you. That was such a fun game that we would play when we was at the YMCA. Um, and they would hate when I would get picked to be a rover because you wasn't getting by me too many times. If you did get by me, it's because I wasn't really focused on you. But they hated it. And I remember one time they put us together in the middle. Me and her was Rover Red Rover. And I could just see the despair on people's faces like, oh my God, why would they put these two in the middle? There's no way we're getting by the both of them. And when I tell you, we completely dominated that game. It was a beautiful thing. Like, we was locked in. We was saying she had one side, I had one side. Nobody got through like that. I thought that was about to be the beginning of a great little situation. They're like, oh, we could be like this athletic power little duo right here. So, I had an interest in her. And what ended up happening was she chose somebody else at the camp. And I didn't understand it because I felt like we had better chemistry. I felt like we had a better dynamic than who she picked. Now, that's not to bash the dude that she picked. I mean, everybody has a right to pick who they want to pick, but I didn't understand it. And I was like, that feeling you get when you find out that the first girl that you ever really liked somebody else that wasn't you. You've never experienced that before. That little bit of, that first little interaction of rejection in your belly. It hurt. Even at that age, before I even knew what feelings were, I knew something wasn't right. It didn't sit right with me. I didn't like it. And it didn't last between her and him, which I'm like, okay, why would you even waste your time? She ended up moving away, and I never really saw her again. She kind of disappeared off the face of the earth. I hope she's okay. Asha, if you're out this, if you ever come across this video, I've thought about you for a long time. I hope you're okay. I don't know where you are. I don't know what life is like for you, but I mean, you were my first experience when it comes to liking girls. And I thank you for that, even though it didn't end the way I wanted it to end. Another person that was there during that time is Kristen Broad. Now, Kristen, I want to apologize. Because I remember, and I've apologized to you before. And usually I say I apologize because I'm apologizing, but I don't really mean it. But I mean it this time. I hit you so hard in the face with a dodgeball that that entire side of your face turned red. And you were so mad at me that you chased me around that entire gym. And I think from that moment on, you had something against me. I don't think you liked me after that moment. But I do want you to know, I liked you too. And we didn't go to the same school until high school, when we ended it back up at Peabody. And I never thought that me and you would actually end up into any kind of relationship. I believe that you had a certain type. I don't believe you date men shorter than you. Absolutely not. I mean, and that's another thing. We need more tall queens and short king dynamic. And Zendaya, who's the top of the line actress model, has no problem dating a man shorter than her. Unless you're trying to say you on Zendaya's level, let's stop this notion that you can't date a man shorter than you. But Kristen, I had a thing for you. It was never really nothing to the point where I thought that it was going to turn into a relationship, but you turned out to be very what I thought you would be. I always knew you had the potential to be a great, productive woman in this world, and you are smart, educated. You out here doing your thing in Houston. You look great. I mean, you look great. And I would love to sit down and have a pod with you one of these days. If you ever come back home or even if I have to travel out there, I believe we should link and do a pod. um, Nuchia Williams. Now, I don't need to spend too much time on Nuchia because another thing, this was a situation where I knew I had no chance. But Nuchia, you affected me in the sense of I joined the track team at HH because of you. You were the it girl over there. You were the prettiest girl there. You were the coolest girl there. And you were nice to me. And when I joined the track team, they put me on distance. Now, I have a little bit of asthma, I think. Never been diagnosed, but I think I have asthma. And they wanted me to run the mile. And I remember at one of the track meets, we was coming to the last lap. And I was pretty much in last place. I had got lapped, actually, because I was gassed. But I remember you standing there encouraging me. Come on, you're almost to the finish line. You're almost there. You're almost there. I felt like you were in my corner. I ain't never had nobody cheer for me. Not that close and personal. But you were right there. I was doing it for you because I knew you on the track team, and that was my way to be close to you. And to have you at that track meet when I was getting lapped, encouraged me to get to the finish line when I wanted to give up, I was like, she want me. She want me. But nah, that was just you. And I want to thank you for making me realize track was not my sport. Couldn't have done it without you. I work with your brother now. Shout out Michi. Sorry about that. But yeah, you was the it girl. I wanted a piece of the it girl. Sue me. Takaya Jones. Takaya, I came across my feelings for Takaya, I want to say during, the very beginning of the Facebook era. Like, the end of the MySpace, the beginning of the Facebook era, because MySpace and Facebook was clashing. And yes, I go back to the MySpace days. If you don't know what MySpace is, you are definitely too young for me. But I think it was Facebook. I remember sliding in her DMs this is the first time I ever slid in anybody's DMs. Before that was even a term. Sliding in the DMs was not even a term when I did this. So, she was a cheerleader. And which is a coincidence because I've liked a couple of cheerleaders. But Takaya was the first person I liked when I got to Brain. I slid in her DMs. I let her know, hey, I like you. Because I think we was kind of cool at the time. We was more on that friend level. I was like, I would like to talk to you as more than just friends. And her response was basically, in a nutshell, nah, I'm good. Not so harshly, but it was like, I don't see you that way. And that was actually my first real rejection from a girl that I actually expressed an interest in. See, with the whole Asha thing, I never told her that I liked her. I just thought what was understood was understood. But Takaya, the first girl that I told, I like you, I want to be more than just friends. And when she said, I don't look at you that way, I don't see you that way, I don't want to be more than friends with you, that was not great for my confidence. That was not great for my mental psyche. Because I couldn't understand why. With most of the names on this list, most of these cases, I just don't understand why. But I guess it comes down to preference. Everybody likes what they like, so you don't have to like what you don't like. But that to be my first real rejection from a girl, me actually expressing my feelings too, for the very first time, it messed me up. I didn't know how I was going to recover from it, honestly, because, well, dang, if you don't like me, who else will? And fast forward to our adulthood, I see you now. You're an artist, very eccentric, great work. I think you're a great gal. Yeah, I say gal. But that rejection really set me back going forward into my adolescence because I couldn't understand why you didn't like me. Um, Rachel DeSalle. Now, Rachel was my first girlfriend, technically. The thing with Rachel is I knew Rachel before I got to Brain, but I met Rachel because she um, liked my homeboy. She was into my homeboy at the time. And I don't think he was too into her as she was into him. So I think what happened was, well, the first time I actually really met her, she ended up pouring water in my face. Excuse me. I don't think she liked something I said. I can't even remember what I said, but I don't remember how water ended up in my face. But she poured water in my face. She did not mess with me. But then later on, she decided she liked me. So we ended up, I guess, technically becoming boyfriend and girlfriend. But everything seemed, if something with that situation seemed very off because everything was so expedited. Like, I was so young, I hadn't really had a girlfriend before, I didn't really have a lot of experience, and I felt like she was trying to make him jealous. So she was trying to, everything we did, she was trying to speed things up so he could see it, and maybe he would notice her by using his homeboy, using his friend to get to him. And it kind of made me uncomfortable. I kind of never really got settled into the relationship. I felt like there was a hidden agenda, and it may not have been. She might have genuinely liked me, but I didn't really feel it. I feel like it was more of, okay, he's not paying attention to me. How can I get his attention? Let me talk to his friend. And I feel like that's what it was, and that's why the relationship didn't last that long because she wanted to move so fast, and I didn't know what was going on that I couldn't keep up. And eventually, she just said, "Forget it," and I guess lost interest in the idea. But she's a loving mother today. You have beautiful kids, married. I'm glad things worked out for you. I know that you've come from a big family and now you have a big family of your own. So congratulations on the life you carved out for yourself. And I will always acknowledge you as my first official girlfriend. So thank you for giving me the experience that you did, even though I wasn't ready for it. No harm, no foul. There were two crushes that I had. Outside of Takai Jones, there were two crushes that I had that may have been more than her. And it's crazy because one of them, I never even really, I'm not going to say didn't say anything to, but we never really had a real conversation. That would be Miss Christina Pham. Now, Christina Pham was my first Asian crush. Now, see, up until that point, I had never really thought of myself being with anybody that wasn't black. I was into black girls only. Like, I never ventured off into anything else. I lied. I had one white girlfriend, but that was one summer in Arkansas. That does not count. That was just a heat of the moment thing. But Christina Pham, I sat next to you in Mr. Trotter's class. That cold classroom in the back. And you didn't notice because you always had your head down for the most part into your work. But I would always take a glance at you, and I was like, you had that curly hair, that nice long curly hair. Sometimes you would straighten it out, but when you had them curls in, and then you had these lips. You had these lips. I'm sorry, I paid attention to stuff like that. But I was checking you. I was feeling you on the inside, but I could never express that to you. And here's why I don't think that I could. I don't think me and you would have worked out, but not because we wouldn't have been a good match. I think in your culture, family acceptance is a big part of it, especially with somebody you're trying to talk to. And if we were talking, it would have been a complete clash of cultures. See, in my culture, even though they would like the girl that I'm dating, it's not the end-all, be-all if they don't. They could not like you and respect the fact that you're good to their son, that you would be good to me, even if they didn't like you. I don't think you could have handled it if your people did not like me, because I think that's an important trait in your community and your culture. And even though we would have been a good fit for each other, I think too many people from your family would have been in your ear, changing your mind about our situation to the point where you just would have had to break up with me because it would have been too much. Like, not having your family acceptance. That's just me personally. I don't know that. I haven't spoken to you since middle school. And we never really had a conversation. We might have exchanged a few words here and there because we sat next to each other, but I've never had an actual conversation with you. So I'm telling you now, Christina fam, I had a crush on you. You follow me on Instagram. You watch my stories. I watch yours. But we've never had a conversation. I mean, if you would like to chime in, send me a message to give your thoughts on what I'm saying, you more than welcome. I believe you're in a relationship. I don't know for a fact, but I think you are. And if you are, you know, if you don't want to chime in respectfully, I understand. You don't have to. I just wanted you to know I had a thing for you. But also, in saying my crush is that brain, the one I had the biggest crush on, the person I had the biggest crush on that brain, was another cheerleader, coincidentally. Brittany Monette. I don't know what it was about you, girl. I had a thing for you. It was something about you. You did it for me. Now, you was going through you was going through puberty at that time. We all were, but I remember you having, a bit of an acne problem, and I know you got teased about that a little bit. People kind of pointed it out, but I didn't care. I thought that was a nice little trademark for you. I liked it. I liked you. I was really feeling you. I could never, but I feel like the whole experience with Takaya led me to not express my feelings for you. And I believe you had an interest in somebody else. I think I remember who it was. I can't necessarily remember his name. I think his last name was Tucker, but you had to think for somebody else. But I think my whole rejection from Takaya really made me feel like I couldn't approach you, and I really wanted to. You had this cute laugh, this infectious smile. You were goofy. I was able to make you laugh a lot because we would be joked out in class. I had a thing for you, and I feel like we could have had a little run. And even now, I look at you now. Matter of fact, I just spoke to you a couple weeks ago. I hit you up on Snap, checking in with you. Congratulations on being at your job for as long as you've been, 10 plus years, I believe. You have 2 beautiful kids. I think you're doing a great job as a mom. I don't know why you're still single. I don't know why anybody hasn't swooped you up off the market yet. But I talked about in my previous video about having regrets in life. I think I regret not saying anything to you at that time. Even if it didn't work out for me, I feel like I should have said something. And you may not have been feeling me that way, as most didn't, but I feel like it's still important to let people know how you feel. And I regret not saying anything to you then, but I'm saying it to you now. I had a thing for you. Real bad. And I want you to know that. I really do. I hope you do find what you're looking for in the world when it comes to love. You still look good. I mean, you still look good. So, you got this, girl. You got this. This leads me to high school. Didn't have too many serious crushes in high school. I said the name Tristany Lehman, but I think that was just a more so for the aesthetics. We were the 2 smallest kids in class. I thought she was cute. I thought that she was the only person that I may have really had a chance to be with. And this was freshman year. This was just strictly freshman year. This was a sophomore, junior, senior year. I only had a thing for a freshman year. And I feel like she was the only freshman prospect that I actually could see myself having a chance with. But I don't think I ever really had a chance. She's married now with kids. Life worked out for her. She found her person. But I could tell that she wasn't feeling me. I could tell that there was no reason for me to express any interest in her. And the thinking of just because we were the two smallest people in the class, we were the same size, that we were supposed to be together. Nah, that was a terrible way of looking at it, but I did have a small crush on you. Just coming into high school, I didn't really see myself really just being with anybody else. So that's what that was. Nothing too big, nothing too serious. But you did make the list. Which leads me to Olivia Butler. Now, let me address you, Miss Olivia, because I don't, and I don't want to say this in a bad way because we still cool. But I do want to clarify some things. If you watched my video with Michelle, I claim to have had a thing for Miss Butler. And I claim that the feeling was mutual. And Michelle said that the feeling was not mutual, that Olivia looked at it as more as I was trying to talk to her. It was never really nothing like that, that she just used me for food. Well, let me clarify this, because that is completely false. For one, when I had a thing for Olivia, she was a freshman, I was a sophomore, which means I was 15 years old. I didn't start working my job at the movies till I was 16, so I didn't have any money. If you were just using me for food, how would that have worked when I didn't have no money? Maybe I had a few dollars on me. Maybe I bought you some food once. Maybe. But to say that you use me for food is an absolute equivalent false statement. I didn't have money. I didn't have a job yet. And if the feeling wasn't mutual, and I said to myself I wasn't going to say this, but it needs to be said. Fuck it. I mean, forget it. Sorry. Forget it. It needs to be said. If you wasn't into me, how did I get your number in the first place? If you wasn't into me, why would you share conversation with me? We had conversations. If you wasn't into me, why would you share intimate pictures and videos with me? I've seen you intimately. No, we did not have sex. No, we have not done anything sexual. But I have seen you. How would I have seen you if you were not mutually interested in me? I know what you look like. And I didn't ask for that. You willingly gave that to me. And because I cared for you at that time, because I liked you so much, and this was the time where exposed pages were a thing. This is a time where teenagers were being horn dogs, having their pictures getting exposed on exposed pages. I didn't want that for you. So when you sent me those pictures and those videos, I'm not going to say exactly what they were, I deleted them. Now just think about that. A teenage boy getting those kind of pictures and videos, deleting it out of his phone. Who does that? You keep those videos for as long as you can keep them. If they somehow get lost along the way, they just got lost. But no teenager just deletes those kind of pictures and videos. But I deleted them because I didn't want those pictures or those videos of you to get out. Because I cared too much about you and your image and what, for something like that to happen to you. I don't want to get this twisted. It's okay if you had a thing for me. I don't know, and I'm here to defend myself as a man and my character. I don't want anybody to make it seem like I am not somebody that's worthy of talking to, or somebody that not worthy of having an interest in. It's okay if you had an interest in me at that time. I know you did. I did too. And it's okay to say that. It's okay to say, I may not be your, look, I get it. I'm not your type. I'm definitely not your type now. I know what you're looking for, and I'm not that. But it's okay to it's okay to like somebody that's not typically your type. You got to know me. You got to like the person that I am, and you felt a certain way for me, even if it was for a short period of time. It's okay to admit that. It's okay to say, hey, you're not my usual type, but I took an interest in you because I liked who you were, the person that you were. I thought you were a great guy. Not somebody that I would typically go for physically or anything like that, but you were a great guy. I liked you for a certain amount of time. But to completely deny any involvement of feelings for me is ridiculous based on the evidence that we both know. And it's easy to be like Michelle and say, oh, I don't remember that. I don't remember it going down like that. Well, I have a great memory. And I'm not just saying this for attention. I'm saying it because it's the truth. It's a fact. This is something that young men hold on to. This was the first time I have ever gotten anything like. I had never got those kind of pictures or videos before. This is my very first time, and it came from you. You think I'm gonna forget something like that? It happened, and it's okay. We still cool, and like I said, you're invited on the podcast. We can sit down, we can have a conversation, we can hash all this out. But please don't deny that you had something for me. Let's be real. Let's be for real. Which leads me to Michelle. Michelle, I respect the answers. I respect you coming on the podcast, giving me your perspective, even though we already talked about it. Here's what I would say to Michelle, though. Even though I can respect how you felt and the decision that you made back then to call things off, I always felt some type of way about you making that decision for me. I always felt some type of way about you making the decision for us. I think with you and a couple other people, you get into your head about. I'm supposed to put y'all on a pedestal, but I think some of y'all have put me on a pedestal to where y'all feel like y'all won't measure up to my expectations, and you'll feel like you'll end up falling short to me, or that you may even end up hurting me because you think that you're not worthy enough of me, and I may even hurt you first. Or even if I don't hurt you, you just don't feel worthy enough. With Michelle, I feel like, no, you were right. We did come up differently. We did communicate differently. But I was 19 when we had our child, Michelle. I think you expected I'm 29 now. I think you expected a 29-year-old reaction from a 19-year-old kid who'd never been in this position before. The way we communicated, the way I communicated with you at that time is all I knew. I had never been in that position before. So all I had was to lean on my background. Just like you, all you had was to lean on yours. And I think that you called it way too soon. I don't believe you gave me a chance to grow. I don't believe you gave me a chance to mature. I was 19. I needed time to figure it out. And I don't believe I got that chance. And even later on, when I started to mature more, I still never got that chance. Because you had already made that decision. You had already put me in this box. And at that point, I just had to deal with it. And that really took a toll on me and the way I moved in life after that. Because I said to myself, I never wanted to experience this type of feeling again. Because I feel like I gave you everything I had to give at that moment in time with what I was working with, and it just I don't know why I didn't get a chance. I don't know why I didn't get more time. If you hurt me, you hurt. I would rather you have given it a chance. I'd rather you had given me that time to grow and you hurt me than cut it off when you did, because that hurt me even more. Not getting the chance. If I was going to get hurt, I was just going to get hurt. Because you ending it hurt. So if we had continued on and you ended up hurting me, what's the difference? The hurt was inevitable anyway, right? But it might not have happened. We may be 12 years in right now, still in a relationship, but we'll never know because you called it. And that was a decision that was out of my control. You made that decision for me. But you know what? Like I said before, I respect your decision. Now, I appreciate it now because we sat down and we talked about this. I appreciate you having the foresight to save me from yourself. But I will say this. I don't need saving. I'm a grown man. Ladies, I don't need saving. If I'm going to get hurt, I'm going to get hurt. That's life. Life isn't fair. It don't always work out, but don't not give somebody the opportunity because you think it won't work out. Which, before I get to the last name on the list that I mentioned, there's a couple, like I said, there was a couple people on this list that I did not mention because I'm still close to these people and I'm protecting these people and I'm going to protect them. I'm going to protect them by not divulging too much information and especially not saying their names. But I would be remiss if I didn't say that a person that's named not on this list really affected me. Because I'm just going to say it, I fell in love with this person. See, it's the difference between realizing Michelle was my first love. And I didn't know that was what it was until after the fact. I may have been in love with Michelle, but I didn't know that in the moment. And it's a difference between realizing you may have been in love with somebody after the fact and knowing you're in love with somebody in the moment. And this person who, and that's not something that I take lightly. If I pursue you, you're somebody that I seriously see myself marrying. You're somebody I see myself seriously with for the rest of my life. Because I don't put myself out there enough. I don't date around. I don't date a lot. So if I pursue you, I think you are a wife for me. And up until that point, after Michelle, I didn't feel that feeling again for another 7 years. And then I came across a person who I believe was my person. I mean, I could completely be myself with this person, 100%. I've never had this level of camaraderie and communication with anybody else. I've never had this feeling. And I knew in the moment I was in love with this person. And it hurt to not get that opportunity to show just how much I loved you. Because in my pursuit, we had our little run where I had a little run where I was trying to get out of a rut. I was trying to get out of a funk. I was trying to overcome some things. And I brought the very best that I had to you. I was trying to prove, without a shadow of a doubt, that I was that guy for you. And I felt like the more I kept going, the more I was getting hurt because I kept getting passed over. Other people kept getting opportunities that I felt like were for me. And I feel like, once again, a decision was being made for me. I felt like we had something special there, that if we had given it a chance, the outcome of our lives right now to this day might be different. I'm just being honest. This is me being completely vulnerable, being completely honest. This situation messed me up the most, even more so than Michelle. This situation messed me up because I had never been in love like this before. I had never felt this strongly about somebody in a situation like this before. And I thought it was perfect. I thought we were perfect. And I'm not talking like perfect, like everything was copacetic, everything was going to be great, but I thought that there were no two people better to navigate life together than us. And for whatever reason, that never came to fruition. Now, she has the right to make her own decisions. She has her reasons behind her decision. And I respect it now. Like I said, not going to say who it is. Still very close to this person. I wish this person nothing but the best. I hope that your situation works out for you. I hope that you find everything you're looking for. I hope you find the love that you warrant because you deserve it. But I feel like I would be doing a disservice to myself if I didn't say I felt like I was that person to do it. I felt like once again I got put in a box and we both suffered because of it. Now, everybody has the right to go pursue what they want to pursue, but I feel like sometimes you overlook what's right in front of you. And one thing I hate, the phrase I hate the most is, any woman would be lucky to have you. And I can never understand that because, like, you are included in any woman. And I wanted you. I was ready to forsake in all others for you. I was going to hold it down for you. I know a lot of dudes say they want to give their girl the world. I meant it. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I was going to figure it out. As long as I had a chance, as long as I had you, I was going to figure it out. I was going to figure out how to give you the world. And if I fell short, I don't even know how I would have been able to live with myself if I fell short. I felt like I couldn't fail you. That's how strongly I felt about you. I felt like you could do no wrong. I felt like it was my obligation to make you happy in life. Because that's how much I was in love. Not just loved, in love. And I'm not afraid to open up and admit that. And if this hurts my chances with anybody potentially going forward because I'm expressing how I felt about a situation in my past, then forget it. It is what it is. But I do need to put it out there that I'm not a person that just falls in love with anybody. I'm not a person that dates around a lot. I do have feelings, though. And these are my feelings. I fell for someone. And we've all fallen for someone, and it may not have worked out. And that's okay. It didn't work out for me. But like I said, there's no bad blood. I wish nothing but happiness for it. We're still very close to this day. And I hope me saying this now doesn't change anything between us because, like I said, I'm not exposing the name. I'm not exposing who it is. I just need to express how I feel because this is a situation that has affected me the most in my entire life emotionally because I didn't think that I could find somebody more compatible as a counterpart to me than this person. It just works. And I get maybe you feel like, oh, well, you don't want to lose the friendship aspect of it. I think we get to that point where I feel like I get it. I'm different. I'm actually a good man. I'm actually a good man. That's not just me saying it. It's something that's openly been admitted. It's something that has been acknowledged. It's maybe something that you have never dealt with before and you don't want to lose it. So you rather keep it right there. I know what this person is as a friend and I don't want to lose this. Trying to chase something on a deeper level and it don't work out and I completely lose this person. You're doing a disservice because how do you know I could have been a great friend and lover at the same time? And even if we did not work out and we crashed and burned, that doesn't mean that you would have lost me in your life forever. That doesn't mean we would have lost each other. We may have had to go our separate ways. But just like with Michelle, we could come back later once cooler heads have prevailed and we could have talked about it and hashed it out and come to an agreement. But I guess we won't know. And I'm okay with that. I have become accepting of that. I just want this person to know that I think we could have had something. I think by this point in time, from then, me and you really could have been locked in. But that's okay. Because we still my dog. Love you to death. Which leads me to my very last name that I can name. Because this particular person, I guess in a nutshell, I've probably been chasing this person for 15 years. Miss Jasmine London. The thing with Jasmine is we're both Geminis, but we're different kind of Geminis. And I think the biggest issue between me and her is personality. Not everybody finds the perfect person that allows them to be themselves completely. Sometimes you meet somebody that's great for you, but you have to compromise on certain things about yourself. You have to compromise to make the relationship work. And I think that's what could have happened between us. I think that's our dynamic. See, the thing with us is she's not big on my sarcasm and my jokes. Not saying that I can't be sarcastic or I can't joke, but I think she feels like I'm too much with it sometimes and I need to tone it down. And I think she's a little too serious a lot of times and she needs to open up and have a little more fun. And I know she can because I think she is very outgoing and joking with her girlfriends. I've seen her be a completely different person with her friends. And that's the person that I am looking for when you're with me. I feel like I get a different person when it's just us than when you're with your friends. And I think that's what has held us back. And you can say we've had like a brother-sister relationship over the years, but I don't look at it that way because I don't vibe with my sister, my actual sister, the way that I vibe with you. And the great thing about trying to have a relationship with you is how much you haven't experienced. And I love being the person that gives you those experiences. There's been a lot of things that I've opened your eyes to that nobody else has. The last real thing we did together outside of, hanging out behind closed doors is when we went out to the escape room and then go eat at KOK. We had a blast. We had no issues doing that escape room. We worked together as a team, great. And then KOK, you fell in love with KOK so much that you done went back without me. You ain't know nothing about it. But now it's your spot. And I enjoy being the person that you said to me that I've said a lot of things to you, I've done a lot of things for you that nobody else has done. And I take that to heart because I'm like, in my head, I'm like, how can you not have experienced this by now? Has nobody thought of you enough to give you these experiences? I don't understand. I think you are incredibly beautiful. You are a ride or die chick. I know who you are to the core. And this is why I wanted to pursue something with you, because even though I know we would have to compromise personality-wise to make it work, I believe it's worth it because I know the kind of partner you would be. And I know I could trust you. I know I could give myself to you and I could trust that you won't hurt me. And that doesn't mean that we wouldn't break up, but I know that you would break up with me respectfully. I know you wouldn't cheat on me. I know you wouldn't do anything crazy. I know that you would be woman enough to come and be like, hey, I don't think this is working out. I think we should go back to the way we were. I feel like I can trust you in life. And that's very important in any relationship, is that trust. I feel like you will hold it down for me and I will hold it down for you. We would just have to compromise on a few things, personality-wise. And that's okay. Because it's easy to say, like, well, why wouldn't you be with somebody that will allow you to completely be yourself? Because not everybody gets that. That's not how the world works. Sometimes you can only be yourself 90%, and you have to compromise on 10%. I'm willing to compromise on 10% if she's willing to compromise on 10%. And if we compromise on that 10%, we can have a great relationship. And even if that 10% ever clashes, that's where communication comes into place. Let's table it for the moment. Let's come back and talk about it later. Let's apologize. Hey, baby, I went too far. I'm sorry. I try to do better. Hey, baby, I was too serious here. I need to loosen up more. I'm sorry. A lot of relationships can be saved if you just communicate. And I feel like that could have been our dynamic. We would have had to compromise a little bit of ourselves. But as long as we communicated, there's not too many people that I can say I know would have my back, undoubtedly. You are one of those people. Our schedules in life right now, hectic. We don't really get to talk that much. We don't really get to see each other that much. But I will say this. I didn't understand at first what you were going through until I went through it myself. So I get why you don't have the time. I get why you're always low on energy. You're doing what you got to do. And you're doing it. And I'm proud of you. But I do feel like a lot of time between us has been wasted. And I feel like if there was a little bit more effort, we could have made it work. Because I believe when you really want somebody, you make the effort. I've seen people make an effort with somebody that they really wanted to be with. And maybe you don't see me as your person, so you don't make that effort. And that's okay. I'm accepting of that. I'm mature enough at this big age of mine to accept when I'm not what you want. But if there's a small piece of you that do want me, don't hold back. And that goes for any woman. Go with your gut. If anybody has had a thing for me and you have not acted on that, you're doing a disservice because things could have been different. Stop being afraid of what your mind has created. Stop being afraid of the negative outcome and scenarios that you have created internally and go for it. You never know what could have happened. I could be your person, but you won't know because you won't give it a chance. We got to stop holding ourselves back from finding true love because we're afraid to take a chance. And I get it. Most of you have been through some things from previous people. And I'm coming in trying to break through a lot of walls and a lot of barriers. But you know what? I'm up for the challenge if I believe in you. So believe in me too. So I'm going to end this with, don't shortchange yourself on finding love because you've been hurt. Don't shortchange yourself on finding love because you're afraid of a negative outcome. Life is about taking risk. You got to risk it to get the biscuit. Things could have been differently if you had just made a different decision in the past. And if you can't go back to correct the past, then make a better decision going forward. You just might find true love. That is it for me. Opening up and being vulnerable and sharing some of my stories with you guys. Like I said, this was a completely unplanned scenario of a podcast. But I wanted y'all to get an insight on me emotionally, opening up. Because I believe more men should do that. This is my platform and that's what I wanted to do. So hopefully next time I have a guest on here. But I did want to bring you guys some content. And I want to continue to thank y'all for supporting me. Make sure you like, comment, and please, please, please subscribe to the channel. I need y'all's support. I really do. So I want to thank my shit starters for tuning in again to episode 4. Stay tuned for episode 5. So this is me signing off. Don't start your shit. Won't be no shit. Catch you next time.